Good morning. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take on a Feel Good Friday. Fellas, we have a big show today. We have a Stevens A-list. I hear of the top 5 sports movies, and I heard it's horrible, so I can't wait for that. Michael Irvin is joining us. That's what I heard, Stephen A.
There's just one movie I want to make sure is on that list, Molly.
There's no one that has ever associated the word horrible with me, so I'm not worried about that. No, we're not.
It was actually horrendous. It wasn't horrible, so I screwed that up.
Whatever.
And Stephen A goes one-on-one with Trevor Lawrence. So big show, fellas. Let's get right into it. And we're going to start in the NBA because Anthony Davis, he was back, y'all, playing for the first time since February 14th after needing nearly 9 weeks to recover from a calf strain and Achilles tendinosis in his right leg. He started for the Lakers, was finished by halftime. He finished with 4 points, 2 for 10 shooting, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 1 steal. He also missed both of his free throw attempts, and LA was outscored by 13 points in the 16 minutes he played. Let's take a look now at the Western Conference standings. Marinate on that for a hot second. Jazz, Suns, Clippers, Nuggets, Lake Show rounding out the top 5. Stephen A. Smith, are you taking the Lakers or the field to win the West?
Well, I haven't jumped off the Lakers bandwagon. I've always said that if LeBron and AD are healthy, they're going to be fine. But I must acknowledge, I ran into a couple of Lakers while I'm out here in L.A. and obviously I know a lot of people within the organization. And consistently, while everybody acknowledges the health of Anthony Davis is vastly improved, they talk about being concerned about the conditioning. That's all that we're talking about here. But the flip side to it is that what I'm recognizing is this. Anthony Davis, 4 points, 4 rebounds last night, 17 minutes or so. You got to believe in LeBron James because these brothers just know how to play. They're 2 of the top 5 players on the planet as far as I'm concerned. But I can't ignore what I'm seeing out west with the Phoenix Suns and specifically with the Los Angeles Clippers as well. They're the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. They're the top shooting 3-point shooting team in the league. And so when I look at the formidability of the Los Angeles Clippers and the way everybody's flowing, then I start saying, okay, Anthony Davis is going to have his A game and LeBron James is going to have his A game. Are we sure they're going to have their A game? That's the question mark right now. So the sooner they get back now, the better. They've been out long enough. Obviously, I'm one of those guys that believes that LeBron can stay out as long as he needs to with all the work that he puts in and very rarely taking time off. But I'm looking at the competition out west, and I'm not feeling as strong-willed and as strong-minded about the Lakers' chances as I was. I'm still not jumping off that wagon, but I'm starting to get just a touch nervous as to whether or not they're going to get compromised by Phoenix or the Clippers.
If you ask me who am I taking, if you ask me who I'm taking to get out of the West, the answer is the Lakers. If you ask me, am I taking them against the field or the Lakers, I'll make the Lakers the odds-on favorites. I'll take them against any one team. I'm not taking them against the field right now. And Stephen A., the reason is we don't know what AD is going to be. We saw him last night, and honestly, athletically, he looked pretty good to me. Rusty. He's rusty, conditioning, rust, I get it. But we need to know he's going to be at 100%. I don't think 80% does it in this Western Conference. Now, they caught a break in the sense that Jamal Murray's not going to be around because the Nuggets will be so live. But there are 3 other teams they're going to have to get through, most likely 2 of them, to get out of the West. And even if I like them by a little against either one of them, both together, look, the Suns, as you mentioned, this team, let's go back to the bubble. If you take out the playoffs, because even though they went 8-0 in the bubble, they didn't get to play in the playoffs, they have the best regular season record in basketball over that time. The Suns have been among the powerhouses all year this year, and they were 8-0 in the bubble. They added Chris Paul. And more than anything, that should show up in the playoffs. They have 2 near MVP caliber players in their backcourt, a well-constructed team, and really the only reason that I wouldn't be even more bullish on the Suns is DeAndre Ayton is still a little green. So I do like the Lakers against the Suns, but I think the Suns give them a run for their money. And then the Jazz been the best team in basketball kind of all year. You know, I don't believe in them in the playoffs as much as the team I'm about to mention, but you have to think that they are live. And the team, what they did with the Nuggets last year was a first-round series. That's the best one you're ever going to see among them. The Clippers. You mentioned it, Stephen A. the Clippers, they're going to need AD to be dominant against the Clippers. Because the Clippers have some bodies, though Ibaka hasn't played in a minute now. And Zubac and stuff, but what are you really going to do with AD if you're the Clippers? You got some wings. No one's going to stop LeBron, but you have as good matchups as you could possibly ask for against LeBron in both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And you have guys who really know how to play, like obviously Rondo and Nick Batum, and I mentioned Ibaka, and guys off the bench who can score. The Clippers are dangerous. The Jazz are dangerous. The Suns are dangerous. The Nuggets would have been. I like the Lakers against any one of them, Stephen A., but I can't say they're better than 50-50 to beat at least two of them.
LeBron James has missed 18 games this year. Anthony Davis has missed 35. And the rest of the teams in the conference are playing together for the most part. I mean, Kawhi is Kawhi, so he takes time off when he needs to because of the injuries he sustained years ago with San Antonio and how guarded he is about that. But you look at what's transpiring. The one thing that I will give the Lakers credit for, however, is Frank Vogel and his coaching staff. You know, Jason Kidd, Lionel Hollins, my brother Phil Handy, and others. They're the number 2 ranked defense in the NBA. With LeBron having missed 18 games, with Anthony Davis having missed 35 games. So I give a lot of credit where credit is due in that regard, because obviously with those two out, but your defense not lagging off one bit, I think that says a lot about the coaching staff. I think that says a lot about what they're going to be defensively come playoff time. But I'm just looking at the Clippers. I'm looking at the Phoenix Suns. I'm looking at the Utah Jazz, and I'm saying Anthony Davis, he comes back. He's just rusty. We understand that. As long as he's 100%, we believe in him. But you got to remember, one of the things that I don't like, and I want to make sure I point this out. You know what? The Lakers can't just be big. They have to play big. When I see Anthony Davis, even though he can hit those shots, I just don't want to see Anthony Davis shooting a bunch of fall-away jump shots. I don't mind it every now and then, but he's got to be a man amongst boys come these Western Conference playoffs. He's going to have to make noise in the interior on both ends of the floor. Shooting fall-away jump shots from 17 feet away ain't cutting it. I'm just telling you that right now. I don't give a damn how great he is. In this year's playoffs, that's not going to get it done. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope shooting better than 42% from threes. Hit about 6 threes last night, if I remember correctly, 6 of 12 from three-point range, had 29 points, played the big-time game. What he did in the finals, he's going to need to do again. And Anthony Davis is going to have to play big on both ends of the floor as well in order for the Lakers to be what we expect them to be.
When AD was last seen on a court in the playoffs, he was the best big in the game. He was proving it again. He was proving it again. We'll see if that's still the case, because other bigs have come up in the world, notably Embiid on a game-for-game basis. May not have to see him, but he may. If Brooklyn's not healthy in the finals, or Giannis.
Well, I'm not worried about that, because by the time the finals come, you will have played 3 rounds.
Right.
I'm worried about those first 2 rounds.
Jokic. One of them
I'm worried about the
against,
first 2 rounds.
One of them could be against Jokic, but at any rate,
first round.
AD is going to have to be dominant. We agree on that. Let me say something else. Boogie Cousins recently said he's tired of the Paul George slander. I hear you. Paul George is a great player. He's excellent. But Paul George is going to have to perform big in the playoffs. My point is, if he does, and we've seen players, just because they haven't been great in the playoffs in the past doesn't mean it's going to be that way forever. If Paul George can elevate in the playoffs and just stay his normal self, the Clippers are going to be very difficult for the Lakers to get by.
Without question, but when we go off on Paul George came up small in big moments, but there are other moments. It's not like every postseason game he didn't show up. There have been postseason games Paul George has shown up. It just hasn't been consistent. But we know he's a great player. So I don't know what the hell Boogie Cousins is talking about. He might be maligned. Paul George might be maligned for what happened in a Game 7. But most people that watch basketball know Paul George is great.
He's going to have to be consistently great in the playoffs. Yeah. And then it's going to be a problem for the Lakers.
And Jokic will get the Lakers in the first round. If the players were to begin today, he'd get them in the first round, which could cause a problem for the Lakers if they ain't ready.
Mm-hmm. If the Lakers repeat, they break a tie with the Boston Celtics for most titles all time. To the East we go now, fellas. The Bucks picking up a huge win over the Sixers in Milwaukee. Philly did not have Ben Simmons, but that still didn't keep Charles Barkley from offering his hot take of the night. Barkley saying he thinks the Bucks will win the East. Milwaukee currently 3rd behind the Sixers and Nets. Max, is Barkley right about Milwaukee winning the East?
No, I don't think he is. I mean, I'll credit Milwaukee for doing this. Remember when it was like, yo, what's going on with Milwaukee? What's going on with Giannis a little bit earlier in the season? And it was clear that Budenholzer, Stephen A., you'd made this criticism, and I think he was responding to critics who were pointing this out, saw, okay, we can't just initiate the offense every time with Giannis. We got to try some new things, and there were some growing pains. But they're a formidable team. I would say that if the Nets are healthy, they got no shot against the Nets. I think if the Nets aren't healthy, the Sixers are my pick to come out of the East. I saw the Sixers just give the Suns everything they wanted without Ben Simmons or Tobias Harris, and Embiid has just been a monster this year, having one of the all-time great years on a per-game basis. So I would say, no, I don't think that the Bucks are winning the East. I disagree with Charles Barkley.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate you copying what I said in terms of Brooklyn going to the finals. Obviously, if they're not healthy, we're both going to pick Philadelphia. You picked Philadelphia. You took you a while to jump on the Nets bandwagon, but that's okay.
They didn't have Harden yet.
That's okay. You don't party too much anyway, so you being late to a party is no crime. Having said all of that, here's the reality of the situation, okay? You want to know why the Bucks are not going to win the East? Because Charles Barkley said they will. It's just that simple. I love my brother Chuck, but we all know about his guarantee. We understand that. I recall him picking out the brooms when the Trailblazers were going up against the Lakers in the conference finals last year. I recall this man walking around with a broom. Not only was he blasphemous in saying that they were going to beat the Lakers, he actually said they probably was going to sweep them. So we all know, and that's just the latest, but it's all right, because God knows I've been wrong too, but I'm just messing with my brother right there. But that's how you really, really know they're not going to win the East, because Chuck said they were going to win the East. That's just the way it goes. Milwaukee is formidable. We understand it in all seriousness. Percentage-wise, they're the number 2 3-point shooting team in the NBA. They're the number 1 offense in points in the NBA. We know they're high percentage scorers from 2-point range because of their size and a Greek freak in the post and dunking on everybody. We get all of that. Milwaukee is no joke. The question is, do you think they could get through Brooklyn and Philly? I don't see that. Do we think Philly could get through Brooklyn and Milwaukee? I don't see that. Could we see Brooklyn getting through both? Yes. If Harden, KD, and Kyrie is healthy. Me personally, it's really about KD and one of the two. Now, you don't even need both if KD is 100%. And I got serious questions as to whether or not KD is going to be 100%. My only question about the Brooklyn Nets isn't even their collective injuries. It's KD's health and Kyrie wanting to play. And obviously, I think Kyrie's going to want to play come postseason time. So it's really about KD's health. If KD is healthy, I'm not concerned. If he's not, they ain't going to the finals.
If KD is healthy, there's a good chance they don't get out of the East if Harden's not healthy, Stephen. I keep telling you this. The reason I didn't like the Nets right away is because they didn't have James Harden. And when I looked at that team, I thought maybe not enough.
No, stop.
And then,
wait a minute. No, stop.
Hold on.
You said it when Harden came.
Excuse me.
When Harden came, you said that.
I am getting to that, Stephen A. When they got Harden, they weren't playing defense. I said, still not enough. They got to be a better defensive team so quickly. They went from worst ever to decent so quickly. That's number one. Number two, Harden and Kyrie, there was no guarantee they could share the backcourt. Harden and Kyrie, without KD, were beating everybody. Even sometimes just Harden without Kyrie was winning. So if you think that they're going to do it without James Harden, you are mistaken. They need James Harden.
You know what?
Yes.
Forget the Nets. Forget Philadelphia. The rest of this segment is dedicated to Max Kellerman, you and your slick self. See, this is what you do. Let me tell you what you just did, Max Kellerman. Listen to what he did, Molly. He started off his soliloquy by saying he didn't pick the Nets initially because they didn't have Harden. Right. Then he said, I'm getting to it. Then he comes back a little bit later and he said, then when they got Harden, hold on, man, stay with me, Max. Stay with me. I'm going to give you a chance to respond. First you said you didn't want the Nets because they didn't have Harden yet. Mm-hmm. Then you said, but when they got Harden, then after that, they weren't playing defense. So in other words, you see, because if you listen closely enough, you would forget that he didn't pick the Nets even after they got hardened.
Let me be very clear.
Then you would – no, I'm not saying you didn't say these things, Max. I'm saying in sequence. You see, you said no to them before they got hardened.
At
then
least you know he listens to you, Max.
After they get hardened,
Right.
but only until they started playing defense, then you picked them.
They were playing the worst defense of all time.
No, I'm saying to you, we would forget one of those points, whether it's you not picking them before Harden arrived or you not picking them after, but not both, because you didn't bring them up together. You see, you go one after the other, so we would have forgot. I did it.
Let me be very, very clear.
You didn't pick them before, you didn't pick them after.
One person's
Let me be
listening,
very clear.
And that's Stephen A.
Let me be very, very clear. We do this show 5 days a week. We are responding to new information every single day.
But I'm talking about the point you did, how you just expressed it.
I'll be very clear. Before they had James Harden, I didn't think they were getting out of the East. That's why I'm bringing it up now. You're like, as long as KD is healthy, they could have Harden or Kyrie. I'm saying KD and Kyrie I don't think are getting out of the East without Harden. Then once they got Harden, I didn't know how he was going to work with Kyrie, and I didn't know if they were going to play defense. He worked beautifully with Kyrie, and they started playing defense pretty quickly. Not early on, but pretty quickly. It became apparent that team, and I'll be clear about this, no team is going to beat a fully healthy Brooklyn Nets team. But they need to be fully healthy. Harden, to me, is the most important player. So what I take exception to is you acting like, oh, no, KD and Kyrie got this. They don't need James Harden. Matter of fact, they need James Harden more than anybody. KD is the best player. Harden is the guy who makes that team impossible. If Harden's controlling that offense, they're impossible. The Bucks don't have a shot. I don't think the Sixers have a shot. I'm not sure even a healthy Lakers team does if Harden's healthy. If he's not healthy, the Barkley could be right. The Bucks could win. I'll still take the Sixers, but the Bucks are live. I put them third. I put them second if Harden's not healthy.
What I was saying is that with KD is the man. Without him, they ain't winning. With him and with one of the two, whoever the one of the two is, they can win it all. Still in all, I get back to my initial point of this. My initial point of it is the sequence with which you told it. You would forget one point or another that you made because you covered yourself. You know what? When I go to Vegas, I need to take you to Vegas with me because I'll never lose. I'll never lose with you because I cover all bases. That's what you did. That's all I'm saying. That was the only point I was trying to make.
We just had a debate the other day.
Okay.
Is Steph Curry in the MVP conversation? You said no. Then he dropped 47. Next day you showed up and said yes. Which is it, no or yes? Well, it was no before he did it and yes after, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's true.
And guess what? And you got me. And I said,
attack your cranium and fertilize your brain.
Go ahead.
Right here, right now. This is your show, but you are in my house.
First of all, you watch your tone. Disrespect.
What about the respect?
What's your score? You know better than that. Y'all won 2 playoff games in 25 years, and you gonna sit up here, stick it out your chest, talk about it's the dawn of a new day?
He's still writing the Bible through the Cowboys.
Never, ever, ever in my history on this show meant the word blasphemous as much as I mean it right now.
Because I'm sweating. I'm sweating around here. Why am I sweating? Is it that hot in here? I'm sweating.
No.
Oh, my God.
Our next guest will crack your cranium and fertilize your brain. First of all, he is our friend. He is a Hall of Famer. He is a 3-time Super Bowl champ. He is Stephen A's biggest rival on television. Michael Irvin, so good to have you with us, as always. And, of course, wait, I want to say this, too. We have a real draft this year. It's not a virtual draft, and Mike will be a part of the coverage, of course, with NFL Network.
Why is he
so
here,
good to have you, though. Now you can go.
Why is he here this early in the morning?
Because he's my friend.
Get under your skin.
He's my friend. Did you just hear his resume? Hall of Famer, 3-time Super Bowl champ? Come on now.
I know the resume.
You're asking questions? You know what it is.
Did you put a Hall of Fame cheerleader up in there, too? Did he wave pom-poms all the time? Did you put that in there, too?
Whenever it's time to raise the IQ of the show and deliver information that people can use for a certain situation that is coming up, like the draft, then you get on the phone and you dial 88, and I answer with, hello, I am here. Let me deliver this that you need. Now let's do this show. That's
all right,
what you do.
Let's go, 88 Club. Let's do this. All right, Michael, you know where we're starting. Let's talk about your Cowboys. Dak gets paid. He's back. It's a loaded offense. The defense, suspect at best, and even you have to admit that. You got the 10th pick in the NFL draft. What is your confidence level that your Cowboys can win the NFC?
Are you talking about the East or the conference? Because honestly, I got with Dak back.
I'm talking conference.
Dallas Cowboys going back to the 4-3 defense and getting rid of this 3-4 defense. If I can get this defense to where it was 2 years ago with what I saw Dak do in that offense last year, even in those first few games, then I'm telling you, Dallas has a chance at winning the NFC East, surely, and possibly the NFC Conference. That's what I'm talking about. As long as these linemen up front stay healthy.
Oh, my Lord. You remember, Max, did you hear how many ifs was in that soliloquy? If Dak Prescott, if the offensive line, if the defense could get back to what it was 2 years ago and all of that. Oh, please. This is just pathetic. A 3-time Super Bowl champion, a Hall of Famer, literally sat up here on national television with a straight face, named about 10 ifs in one soliloquy, and by the way, said we definitely got a chance at the NFC least, and we might even have a chance at the conference. A champion talking this way. It's disgusting.
First of all,
just disgusting.
First of all, we are in April. We are in April. We're talking about what will play out in January, right? In April. And from April to January, there are a lot of things happening. All I'm saying is that these guys get to September. And that's what will happen. What will play out in January? Wait a minute.
Ain't going to be good, Michael.
Are you trying to say that the Cowboys don't have a chance?
Hold on. Just zip it for a second, Michael Irvin. Zip it. Damn it. First of all, get a background. Why the hell you sitting in the dark talking on First Take at 10 o'clock in the morning? That's number one. Number two, here's the deal. Michael Irvin came on this hit show. It's called Stephen A's World on ESPN Plus, and the Dallas Cowboys season was over.
Right.
It was months removed from the upcoming 2021 season, and I recall Michael Irvin saying, we gonna be so fly and so far. That's what he said. Now, weeks afterwards, here is Michael Irvin saying, well, if the offensive line gets itself together, if the defense recovers from what it was 2 years ago, if Dak Prescott is back and healthy, now what?
No. You shall not lay upon me that mess you lay upon Max. You will not distort my words. I did not say. I just said. I did not do that. I did not say if they stay healthy. I just said if we get it back. We're going to be better in the offensive line. We're going to be better because of what they suffered last year. And people stepped up and played. So that gives you some backups that can play well. That's not even the issue here, Stephen A. That's not even the issue. We got back our quarterback, our soldier. And I told you then that this soldier is like that soldier that just won the Super Bowl. And he knows how to raise the tide that raised all boats on that football team. All boats. So all you saw last year, you saw without Dak Prescott. All boats will rise with him on the football field.
Here's the problem, Michael Irvin. Here's the problem, Michael Irvin. All of your bluster is not going to change the following. When the Cowboys had the best offensive line of the generation, they didn't do much in the playoffs. They had an excellent offense the last time Dak was healthy. They played in an awful division, and they went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. And then Michael Irvin. Last year, they had the worst defense ever, and their offensive line is not the same. They need guys on the offensive line. That used to be the strength, and they need a new defense. So how do you figure with a coach that couldn't even keep his job with Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be better all of a sudden?
Max, first of all, thank you for making my point. You're talking the same thing I'm saying. What you're saying is these teams went 8-8 with a big missing element. 8-8 with a bad defense. 8-8 with an offensive line out. 8-8. And they was right there, had a shot at the end of the season to even win the East. 8-8. All of those things will level out now. Offensive line will be fine. The defense will be fine. So you should easily see 11-5, 12-4, and it's 17 games now, so we'll even be better than that now. So come on. You are proving my point, Max. I'm telling you, I appreciate you helping me and being on my side.
Washington and New York got a defense.
I understand that. The greatest part about any relationship is reciprocation, and I thank you for reciprocating right then.
New York and Washington are coming with defenses now, and the O-line's not the same, playmaker. It's not the same. And I'm saying 8-8, they had a line back then. They don't have the same line anymore when they went 8-8, and the defense fell apart. How do you figure? You like coach? You like the coach who couldn't keep his job with Aaron Rodgers? What's he done since he's been with the Cowboys?
I like the coach because Dak Prescott loves the coach. When I talk to Dak Prescott, he says he loves the coach. That's enough for me. It gives him the room to do what he needs to do. Let's stop playing. I love Aaron Rodgers. But y'all know Aaron Rodgers is hard. We all know that. Let's stop playing. It ain't like he's the easiest person in the world to get along with, and Dak Prescott ain't that. So they'll be able to work together better here in Dallas than he worked with Aaron Rodgers. You can stop trying to use yesterday to paint today. That paint you're painting is stale, it's no good, it is dried up. He's here now on a new day, and Dak Prescott is a better dude in getting along with people than Aaron Rodgers. Let's stop pulling that in.
Well, last time I checked, paintings are supposed to dry. They're not supposed to drip. Then it would camouflage the picture, the beauty of the picture. Last time I checked, that's number one. Number two, Michael Irvin, how many playoff games did you play in your career? Do you know that number?
Couldn't even count.
No, I don't know if you count up that high.
You played from 88.
I don't know.
All right, you played in 16 playoff games. 16 in your 11-year career, okay? And you won 3 Super Bowls, okay? The Dallas Cowboys have 4 Super Bowl wins in 25 years.
Playoff win.
A quarter.
Playoff win.
A quarter century. And you sit here sticking out your chest, bloviating, trying to imitate T.D. Jakes, trying to bless us with and sprinkle and fertilize our brains and all of this other stuff. Well, I mean, what the hell are you fertilizing for yourself? I mean, what are you doing for you?
At this rate, the Cowboys are going to have to play until the year 3000 to get into 16 playoff games.
This is the truth. I got to get this out. I got to say this to my brother. Now, see, I know we go at it, but you have to understand, Michael Irvin, I love you. You're my brother. You understand what I'm saying? I love you, man. I care about your well-being, just your mental makeup, your sanity, for crying out loud. And I'm listening to you talk about these Cowboys. You're so delusional. You're so lost. You're so gone. I'm very worried about you. That background you in right now, it's like you're trying to hide. You want us to see you. It's like you don't want us to see you just in case we're there to remind you. You know what? You can hide like Max did with Kawhi Leonard weeks ago. You want to hide, don't you?
That was months ago.
It is a background, Stephen A. It's a background. You see the background, but you also see a star back there. You see that star that's climbing through that darkness.
I don't see a star.
And that's exactly what's about to happen in 2021. That star back there on the back of that board that's gleaming through is a Dallas Cowboys star. What do you mean you don't see that star right there? That's what I'm talking about. And it's about to gleam through the darkness that you are talking about, just like it's gleaming through on my board. This is exactly what I'm saying, buddy. Watch what happens this year. I guarantee you. Now, we're talking about bringing in a new coach in a COVID offseason. A COVID offseason, trying to implement all that he is. And then they tried to change the defense. I don't understand why you guys don't take these things into an account when we talk about what happened last year.
We got to go to break. We got to go to break. By the way, where is T.D. Jakes' church located specifically?
677 West Keith Boulevard, right there. I go every Sunday, I will be there Sunday to get that gospel.
In Dallas?
In Dallas.
and y'all still lose. And y'all still lose. Y'all got T.D. Jakes in town and still can't win. You got T.D. Jakes and still can't win. He's right there. He's right there.
Let's go to break
He's
on that
right
note.
there, and he still can't win. He got Michael Irvin coming. He's right there, and you still can't win.
When we come back here on First Take.
Oh, my goodness.
Stephen A. Are we going to break? What are we doing here?
Go to break.
All right, let's go to break. Michael, stay with us.
Wait, list, okay? Usually I wait till the end of the show to bring it. But since we were so interrupted so disrespectfully by some former cowboy wearing pom-poms these days, and he want to feel like he could critique everything, I said move the damn segment up to earlier in the show. Let Michael Irvin critique my A-list of the top 5 sports movies of all time. You ready, Playmaker? You ready for this? And by the way, Molly, just so you know, this list is dedicated to the wonderful, incomparable Lakers owner Jeannie Buss, who had to correct me a few weeks ago, and properly so. She had to check me. I must admit, I got to give love to Jeannie. I ain't giving love to the Playmaker. Let's get to the list right now. Number 5 on the list, my top 5 sports movies. Give it to me. What is it? Rocky 3, Rocky Balboa versus Clubber Lang. Mr. T, I pity the fool. I pity the fool. What's your prediction for this fight? Rocky 3.
I like that.
Okay, not Rocky 1 or 2, not Rocky 4 with Drago. Number 5, Rocky 3 with Clubber Lang. That's number 5, all right? Let's go to number 4 on the list. Give it to me. A League of Their Own. Tom Hanks, Madonna, Gina Davis. I mean, come on now. Let me say this. Listen, you got to give the ladies some love. That was a damn good movie. That was a damn good movie, okay?
Damn good movie.
The women, give the ladies some love. Molly can appreciate that. That was a special one. Let's go to number 3 on the list, please. Give it to me. Friday Night Lights. Billy Bob Thornton, you okay? Excuse me. I mean, the crew that they had that movie, I mean, the level of pressure that was applied to high school kids in that Texas town, okay? We got to see it. High-level competition, not to mention the fact that, you know what, putting that kind of pressure on kids and stuff like that, really giving life lessons to parents, not just the kids. I love that movie. Great movie. Billy Bob Thornton was sensational in it, all right? Let's go to number 2 on the list, please. Jerry Maguire.
Oh, get out of here.
Cuba Gooding Jr. Tom Cruise. Show me the money.
Oh, my God.
Show me the money. Hold on. Let me tell you something right now.
Oh, my God.
Was that kid right there not the most adorable little kid that you've ever seen? Not to mention the fact, Molly, you should appreciate this. He had me at hello. You had me at hello. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like that line.
Right. Yeah, nothing says sports like you had me at hello. This is a little high for Jerry Maguire.
Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Number 1 on the list. Number 1. Any Given Sunday. Look at the cast. Jamie Foxx. Al Pacino. LL Cool J. Hell, Bill Bellamy was in there. Terrell Owens was in there. I mean, the list goes on and on. Ricky Waters had a scene in there for crying out loud. Jim Brown was in there. I mean, come on, y'all.
LT.
Hey, listen, look at me right here. You know, that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. This is what it's all about. Any Given Sunday. That's my top 5. No question. There he goes. It's yours, Playmaker. They are. Bow down. Bow down.
Listen here, man. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
And I love Rocky. I love all the Rockies. Now, the league of your own, the league of their own. You're playing to the audience right here. You know, I understand that women have made a step and everything, but to throw the league of your own in there and not put in Remember the Titans? Are you joking? Oh my God, are you joking? You want to talk about something? That movie, the Remember the Titans, was one of the greatest sports movies.
But I got Friday Night Lights in there.
I mentioned it in my Hall of Fame speech because it was so great. Now, you want to talk about bringing people together. It brought black and white together like never before. A football game, brought black and white together. And that's what we see all the time. That's what we just watched when we watch all of these sports guys come out and make these social justice statements.
Friday Night Lights didn't do that?
Friday Night Lights didn't do that. Not like Remember the Titans. And how dare you not have The Longest Yard in there? Ooh. I don't care what you say.
That's right.
That was a great movie. It's the most played. It's the most played movie on TV right now.
It was
every time you turn on somebody. But why is it the most played movie on TV? Because everybody likes it. That's why they play it. They're not playing stuff on TV nobody wants to watch. They're only playing what people want to watch. And The Longest Yard gets all the play. How can you not put that movie on here?
Because you were in it?
Come on, Stephen A.
Because you were in it. That's a good reason for me not to.
Wait, you're talking about the original Longest Yard.
That's a reason for me not to put it in there.
Wait, I got.
Michael, you mean the original Longest Yard, right? Burt Reynolds, that one, right?
I'm dropping.
Hold on, I got some more that I need Michael and Max to get on Stephen A. about. What about Raging Bull, Hoosiers, No Major League? Rudy, I mean, any of those?
I got one for you.
I like Major Leagues with Charlie Sheen, and I liked it. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, that was
really liked it a lot.
I got one for you. First of all,
a league of their own. Those women did a fabulous job. We got to give them some love.
The Burt Reynolds Longest Yard's got to be on the list. And I'll give you because it was maybe the best sports movie ever made, one of the top 2 or 3. I agree with you.
Because he threw the football at the guy's privates.
I agree with you about Rocky 3, but I would move it higher. Rocky 3 is one of the best movies ever. Now, here's one you missed, and it's a sports movie. Ready for this one? The Bad News Bears. Bad News Bears.
Please.
That's right. Bad News Bears should be on that list.
No, that's not cutting it.
Come on,
that's
Max.
not cutting it.
Original Bad News Bears.
Yeah, let me tell you something about let me get back to the Longest Yard.
I was running a little bit with you.
Let me get back to the Longest Yard. You know what I would pick before the Longest Yard as well, Michael Irvin? Waterboy. Waterboy.
Waterboy.
I picked that before the Longest Yard.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here, man. Listen. Stop it, man. Stop it. Get out of here, man.
Well, why not take the Will Ferrell movie where he invented the alley-oop?
I don't see them playing Waterboy. Now, I will say this. I do love Any Given Sunday. That was a good movie. That was a good movie, Any Given Sunday, because Al Pacino's my favorite.
What about Love and Basketball? That was a good one, too.
Dennis Hastert was in there.
Love and Basketball was great.
Whoa.
Love and Basketball.
Love and Basketball, too.
Come on, how can you forget about that?
Marley.
And now
my brother. That should have been the movie that you put out.
You moved me. You made me pause because you brought up Sanaa Lathan. I mean, that's a very soft spot that I have for Sanaa Lathan. So that's definitely I might have to reconsider. But she doesn't come before Jeannie Buss, damn it. You understand?
Yes,
so I'm gonna sit up there and I'm just telling you that right now. And in terms of the Longest Yard, I think they gave Michael Irvin too much airtime personally. I can't pick that. I mean, come on now. You can't have that. I can't have that. No, I was not picking the Longest Yard.
Let me tell you, listen. I was with the director and Adam, and they were telling me how they had to fight about that role. The director said, I told Adam, no way we can give Michael this role. And then the director told me, he said, Michael, but Adam was right. We cast you perfectly. I said, what? I said, listen, you cast me as a prisoner. What do you mean you cast me perfectly? Let's make sure we get this right. Are you telling me that I played the prisoner role perfectly? That you can stop saying that. I know you meant it as a compliment, but it wasn't. Let's just go and move on with that. But Love and Basketball, Molly, one of my best movies. One of my favorite movies.
What about Creed? So what about Creed 1 or 2?
That should be in place of A League of Its Own.
You can't mention Creed and Rocky in the same topic.
Well, I'm just saying Creed with Rocky.
I'm just saying there was a sports. There was a ringside analyst in Creed 1 and 2 and in Rocky Balboa who I thought was cast perfectly. Very handsome guy, very articulate.
That he's in. It's always about that.
So articulate, they heard your voice, you didn't show your face.
Get it
the Hall of Famer, the playmaker, president of the 88 Club, our friend Michael Irvin. Thank you so much for being with us. Check out Michael as part of the draft coverage on Thursday on NFL Network. You can always see him there. Michael, talk to you soon. Our guest right now, covering folks like a Snuggie, Patrick Surtain joining us. Thank you so much for being here. Arguably the best defensive player in this draft, right? Should be a top 10 pick. No, Max, though, this is what I want to focus on. It's actually the Cowboys where a lot of folks have him projected going. Our draft expert. Are you listening up, Stephen A? The Dallas Cowboys. Your father says it would be a perfect fit. Patrick, what would it mean to you to play for Stephen A's favorite team, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, first of all, I think it'll mean a lot just to get drafted by any team. But Dallas, I know, is a very high coaching prize city for the Cowboys. So, I just would take the opportunity and, be thankful for it.
I am talking that right now to the best cornerback in the draft. There's no question about this, what this brother brings to the table. He's special. His father knows it. And I must say, facetiously, albeit, that I'm disappointed that your father would even think about contaminating his son by talking about you being a Cowboy. You don't deserve that. You didn't do anything to deserve that. You're a good guy and you're a great player. The Cowboys don't deserve you. Having said all of that, could you put into your own words, what you believe you will bring to the table for any team that takes you on the NFL level?
Yeah, I think ultimately a team getting an all-around competitor, an all-around great corner that's willing to tackle, that's willing to come, make plays, just come in ready to work with his head held down. I'm just ready for the opportunity that's at hand. I'm just ready to play for whatever team draft me, regardless.
Of course, you guys are a chance. Everywhere you look, there's a first-round pick, a high first-round pick, but you went against two guys at receiver in practice who are, who knows who's going to wind up the best receivers, so many of them, great ones, but Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. How could you describe the differences trying to cover each one of those guys?
Yeah, so both of them, they got their own, unique type of play style. Smitty, he's an all-around great receiver. He runs great routes, very smart, got great hands. Waddle, he's a speedster, can beat you downfield deep, and he's also run great routes. So sort of like pick your poison, but, going against those guys every day in practice, it was fun. We compete at a high level every day, and, I'm going to miss that, just going against them and preparing for the game. But, they're all-around great receivers.
I asked this question to your teammate, Najee Harris, yesterday, and I asked you the same question as well. Obviously, your talent is so great, you would have been who you are no matter what program you was a part of. But being a part of Alabama, one would surmise, based on the number of first-round picks that come out of the daggone program, playing for Nick Saban, there's something special that comes along with it. What do you think being at Alabama does for you on the next level? What do you think coming from Alabama will do for you on the next level that most folks can't say coming from their respective programs?
Well, I think Alabama, shaped everybody up, for the next level because it's such like a professional-like atmosphere, being around a bunch of great guys, a bunch of great resources. And, I think ultimately, going through my 3 years, I can honestly say that, I've been through everything. I learned everything from the program. And, I think it just helped shape me for the next level. Honestly, just me going there as a freshman to now as a junior, I can ultimately say that, I progressed over the years, just building on the tremendous resources, my teammates, the coaches, the whole coaching staff. So, just going through there and understanding what the type of work ethic, the type of program that's ran there, I think will help me shape for the next level.
So you talked about the difference between Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, pick your poison, and the kind of high-level competition in practice. When you look at the next level, when you look at the NFL, who's the one dude, there are a lot of them, but the one dude who you're like, ooh, I want to match up with that guy. Then I know that dude is the best. That's the dude I want. Who is it?
It's a lot of great receivers, but ultimately I always wanted to go against Julio Jones. I think, he's been, in the league for the longest. He's been through everything. He's been consistently one of the best receivers in the league, and I want to live up to that challenge and go against him.
You've been in Alabama the last 3 years, and in this draft, I mean, I saw Devontae Smith, and I just think this brother's all world. Make no mistake about it. He's something special. But they've been talking about how this cat, Jamar Chase, out of LSU, will ultimately get selected ahead of him in all likelihood. And he didn't even play last year. Obviously, he elected to sit out. As a guy that goes up against Devontae in practice, as a guy that's going against Chase, I imagine him being out of LSU, because you've been at Alabama for the last 3 years. How do you see that? What do you think about people who believe that Chase should go ahead of Devontae, even though Devontae's your teammate, and obviously he just finished having the season that he had?
Yeah, well, they both great players. They do what they do best at their respective colleges. They both had great careers, but ultimately, when it comes down to, a team got to pick whatever receiver they want. They both capable of changing the game off of their respective positions. So whatever team gets them, they're getting great players. So at the end of the day, it's just all in the hands of teams whatsoever.
All right, we talked a lot about your pedigree with Alabama. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that your father, Patrick Sr., an all-pro cornerback in the NFL himself. So just want to mention that. Patrick, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you Thursday, so fresh and so clean. Enjoy the whole process. You want to jump in here, Stephen A?
Yeah, I'm saying I love Pops, and I respect the hell out of him and what he did on the NFL level. I was fine with him until he started talking about how it would be great for his son to be a Cowboy. How could you do that? Why would you do that to your son? Why would you do that to him? That's what I'm wondering about.
To 11.
I got to talk to Pops about that. I really do. I might give Pops a call. I might have to talk to him about that. I really might.
Yeah, give him a call.
Yeah.
Give him a call. See what
you
you think about it.
deserve better. You deserve better than these Cowboy fans.
Good luck and enjoy the whole process. We'll be watching.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me
when
on
we
the
come
show.
back here on First Take, of course. Stephen A. sits down one-on-one with the projected #1 pick in the draft. That is Trevor Lawrence. Don't miss Stephen A. and Trevor in just a bit. Tom Brady has a big problem with change. Find out why the NFL has the go all sorts of fired up. Keep it here on First Take. Not a fan of the new rule. Quote, good luck trying to block the right people now. Gonna make for a lot of bad football. Why not let the linemen wear whatever they want to? Why have numbers? Just have colored jerseys. Why not wear the same number? Dumb. Stephen A., do you agree that number changes are bad for football? We're going to see a lot of bad football now?
I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea. But if Tom Brady says it's going to be bad, I believe him. Now, I know there's a lot of people. There's some people that were speculating he can't be serious. This is no big deal. There are others that are speculating he was joking. He was just be self-deprecating. He was just being self-deprecating to some degree, or whatever the case may be. I'm saying, assuming that he's serious, he would know. Now, when you're older, obviously you can be a bit archaic in your thinking, averse to change. And as a result of that, you might not like things, the changes that'll take place. You're out there at the quarterback position. You're looking on a number of jerseys. It's easier to identify defensive personnel. And as a result, you know who exactly you want to exploit and when, because when you're standing in the pocket, you don't get to see people's faces, particularly when they've got on helmets or what have you. You're going by the numbers on their jerseys for all we know when he's looking in the secondary and trying to exploit certain coverages and things of that nature. So he's looking at a defense and maybe it's easier for you to disguise personnel or whatever the case would be. I don't know. I really, really don't know. All I'm saying is that if Tom Brady, who is the man, the GOAT, the reigning, defending Super Bowl champion, a 7-time champion, okay? That dude, if he is of the mindset that this is something that's not good for the NFL, I'll tell you this much, I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm going to listen because he would know.
No, he's not really arguing that it's not good for the NFL. Really, if you look, he's arguing it's not good for him, because he's talking about the offensive line being confused. And what are they charged with? Protecting him. He's got a good one down in Tampa, too. Mm-mm. So, he's he's watching his own back, basically, by making this comment. And I agree with him. At first, maybe there could be some confusion. Maybe that favors the defense. But why is that bad football? Stephen A., we came up in an era where defensive football was fun to watch. I mean, one of the problems the NFL is facing right now is violence is such an attractive part of the sport, such a big part of the reason people love the sport, that they have to figure out how to make it safer, especially for players' long-term health, while not alienating the core fan base, right? I mean, that's one of the challenges that the NFL is tasked with. I used to love to watch. To this day, I don't think I like anything better watching football than Lawrence Taylor lowering that shoulder pad, hitting a quarterback in the small of the back, watching his body do the wave, and watching him cart it out on a stretcher. Like, Giants fans are like, oh, here comes LT. Now, that may be ugly, an ugly part of humanity, right? Like, we like the violence, but that is part of it. You know, so that's part of the appeal of the game. To argue, if Tom Brady wants to argue, hey, this could lead to more injury, and that could be a problem for the NFL, maybe marginally, and maybe he'd be right about that. But arguing simply that this might favor the defense, and so therefore it's bad for the NFL, I don't buy it. I would say it doesn't favor Tom Brady. At least it looks like it could be a marginal negative for Tom Brady, and so he's putting that out there.
I get where you're coming from with that, Max. I mean, obviously, offensive linemen having a difficult time identifying who to block. You got a quarterback trying to pick up blitzes and what have you. And, you know, somebody like him who's been quarterbacking in the league for over 20 years now, you know, you've grown accustomed to doing things a certain way, and it's changing up on you. It might be him exaggerating, embellishing it to a degree, and clearly he's trying to protect himself. But remember, the NFL were the ones that came up with these rules, and it wasn't just for safety purposes. Similar to the NBA, offense is what attracts an audience. The more points you can put up, the more attractive it is to the viewing audience. And so that might play a role in it as well. So again, I don't want to blow it up and act like it's a significant thing. He's got to make the necessary adjustments on it. All I'm saying is, for people out there who just summarily dismiss it, it is Tom Brady that we're talking about here. And if he's saying something is bad, whether it's bad for an offense, whether it's bad for a quarterback, if that's what he's saying, that does mean it's bad for football based on what the NFL says they want the game to be. And if that's the reality of the situation, I think it's something that we should not summarily dismiss, because we must consider the source. And there is no greater source in the NFL than Tom Brady. But you do have defenses that should be very, very happy, because every rule under the sun has benefited offenses over the last few years, not the defense. Don't get Ray Lewis started with that. And so we understand that as well.
Or even guys who just want low numbers, right? Because it's cooler, right? They don't want to wear 57. They'd rather wear 5. I get it.
There's some guys that like single digits instead of the double-digit numbers. That's true.
Yeah, they like the star number. I get it. I mean, LT made 56 the number, but that was because it's LT, right? Yeah, I could understand why guys want lower numbers, and I could understand why a dude like Tom Brady's like, this might not be great for me, at least initially. I mean, they'll adjust. They'll figure it out. But maybe early in the season, there might be it might be favorable to the defense.
So running backs,
good. I like defense.
Running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, offensive linemen, they can all have the same kind of numbers. They can all have numbers 1 through 49.
Right.
I'll leave you with this, since we're talking about Tom Brady and jerseys. His jersey was the #1 selling jersey in all of sports last fall. The Max Kellerman family contributed.
Gatorade. Trevor, man, it's great to see you. You're the projected #1 overall pick in this upcoming NFL draft. As this draws near, what are the kind of things going through your mind right now?
Yeah, well, first of all, good to see you again.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen you since you visited Clemson for a short time, but man, I'm just excited for this whole journey. There's been a lot of work going into it, especially the past 3 years at Clemson, and just it's kind of all led to this moment. And then now, like with the surgery and everything else, all the other hoops to jump through, it's been pretty special getting to lead up to next Thursday. And like I said, a lot's gone into it, and just really excited for myself, but also my family and all the coaches and people that have been in my life that have helped me get here.
We can talk about the media and how media interprets things and things of that nature, but even though I'm a part of the media, I'm going to disassociate myself from the others, because I certainly didn't take wrong what you said a few weeks ago, and I had no problem with it when you basically expressed that you didn't feel like you had anything to prove to anybody and you didn't have a chip on your shoulders. And obviously you had to come back and clarify your position on such matters. Talk to me about what you meant to say to everybody else and what message you wanted to get across to everyone about who you are as a competitor.
Yeah, I'm sure, like you said, you're in the media, how things can get blurred, start somewhere and then finishes somewhere else. And you never know how people are going to interpret things. For me, it was more so, I don't feel like I have anything to prove, not because of what I've done or the success I've had, but just my personality. That's not how I operate. I'm internally motivated. I'm not looking for things to motivate me. I have it all inside. I got goals, aspirations, dreams to be the best I can be, and truly just love the game. And that was kind of the message. Was more, I just love playing the game. I'm not motivated by other people. It's really just an internal motivation, and I don't put my whole worth in football. And I know people take that and spin it and turn it into whatever they want, but it just means if football went away, I'd find something else to do, and I'd still have a great life and enjoy my life. But football is where my heart's at. It's what I love to do. It's what I've loved since I was 6 years old. This has been my dream forever, and I really believe no one works harder than me. So I think you can have both. I think people want it to be one or the other. But I think for me, that's been one of the healthiest things is realizing that this isn't the only thing in the world, There's more to it, but also football's been the biggest priority in my life for, ever since I can remember.
Did you want to go to hell off on people and say, excuse me, I was 39-3 as a starting quarterback with a national championship on my resume? What the hell do y'all care what I think or how I feel? What about what I do? Were you ever tempted to say that to people?
And there's been things like this that have come up, not a ton, but a little bit over my career, little things that spun certain ways, so I'm used to it in a certain sense. But like I said, actions always speak louder than words. I play the long game. Like, it doesn't really matter if I say that or if I would have said football is everything to me. I'm never going to focus on anything else, never going to think about anything else. You still got to go out and perform and execute, and play well. It doesn't really matter either way. So for me, I'm putting all my eggs in the basket of me performing well and doing what I say and just living up to everything, the expectations I have for myself, not what other people have for me.
People know about your feelings on a lot of different issues, and clearly you organized peaceful protests during the season. You were bringing a lot of attention to social justice issues, and rightfully so, and a lot of people have commended you about that. But in the age of the NFL, in this day and age, you see a lot of guys taking steps forward, being more vocal about things and what have you, particularly being professional athletes and having the cachet that they have. Coming into the NFL, although you're going to be a rookie, there might be people who will be looking for you to be an extension of yourself to some degree. Just like you were at Clemson, they're going to expect you to be that same guy on the NFL level. Have you thought about that at all? And what do you think about that moving forward, knowing that you're going to be one of the fixtures in the NFL and the face of the NFL that a lot of people are going to be seeing and expecting more from you, not just football?
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that, like you said, now is becoming more and more common, which is cool to see people have a voice and an opinion in other areas. Like we just talked about, not everything is about football. We still have lives and there's issues going on that affect people. So I think that's a positive thing for one. And then two, for me, it's kind of the same way when I came into Clemson is I want to earn the respect of the locker room of those guys and kind of prove myself to them and not step on anyone's toes, just come in and go to work and earn that respect. And that, once you do that, I think then that's not only, on the field, but that's off the field and different opportunities come up. And I think that's really how you earn your leadership. I don't think you just walk in and you're automatically a leader. I think you got to kind of earn that and prove it.
Listen, let me ask you this. So I'm a high energy guy. I really am. And the way I look at it, I was saying to myself, I can't believe Gatorade didn't call me. I got energy. I mean, when I drink my Gatorade, I'm inspired and what have you. I mean, why would they call me? And then I looked in the mirror and I said, well, damn, I can't play. But you can. You see what I'm saying? Which is why Gatorade and you have partnered up with one another. Why did you sign with Gatorade, man?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of deep ties to Gatorade just from when I was a kid growing up. That was like the one sports drink that you always see the commercials, you saw all the ads, and then obviously it's the one I was drinking too. So I've always loved it. It's always been a part of my like sports journey, if you will. And then something for me that's important is just trying to surround myself with the best, not just the best at what they do, but the best people. And I really believe Gatorade's the best pretty much in every area when it comes to hydration and all the sports science areas. They're the best. So that was something I wanted to do.
Now they got sugar-free. Now let me test you before I let you go. Grape, cherry, lemon lime. I mean, what's your? I know what my favorite flavor is. What is your favorite flavor?
So I like so going back to like when I was a kid, me and my dad used to always drink the like Gatorade Rain. Do you remember that?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
absolutely.
So that was our favorite, but I like the Bolt 24s a lot now because I need a little bit of sugar, electrolytes, but it's not as much as the normal one. So I go back and forth between those two. They got a tropical mango flavor.
They got a tropical mango? I didn't know that.
24.
I haven't known that. Gatorade didn't send me in there. That they got Did you say tropical mango? Is that what you said? Because I love. Listen, one of my favorite when I cheat outside of my Gatorade, one of my favorites is the tropical punch. I love tropical punch with the other drinks, but I'm saying tropical, and I love mangoes because I'm from the West Indies, so I love mango. So tropical mango. They got a tropical mango flavor.
You got to try it. They got an energy Bolt 24 too, but I don't know if you need any more energy. So
I might need it. Man, all the best, man. Good luck to you on draft night. We all know you're going to Jacksonville. No state income taxes in the state of Florida, so you get to keep most of your money. Congratulations with that, bro. Congratulations. All right, my man. Tell Coach I said what's up. Take care.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Also, congratulations to Trevor Lawrence, who was recently married. And the best flavor is actually cool blue. I don't think there's any debate about that. All right, fellas, let's react to it a little bit. Stephen A., I'll bring you in here. What's your reaction to sitting down with Trevor Lawrence and all he had to say about how he's playing the long game and dealing with the critics, et cetera?
Look, he's a winner. And, you know, what I deduced from talking to him on camera as well as off camera is that, you know what? Winning's a priority for him. But he's not going to walk around letting anybody dictate how he's supposed to go about the business of handling his responsibilities. He thinks he's done well thus far. It's worked for him to be, in my words, Joe Cool. You know, when we talked about Joe Montana, one of the things that was religiously talked about over the years is how they needed that game-winning drive in a Super Bowl. I think it was against Cincinnati when Sam White was coaching, if I remember correctly. And Joe Montana walked into the huddle and said, "Isn't that John Candy up there in the stands?" And everybody looked and started laughing and all of that stuff, and how it just relaxed and defused the urgency of the situation for a moment there and got everybody relaxed and focused on the job at hand. What I get from Trevor Lawrence is an individual that knows what he can do, that's very, very confident in what he can do, and he's going to do it his way. He's not going to harbor this mentality that everybody is supposed to think alike in order to ascend to the heights they aspire to ascend to. And I respect that because he has a resume that says it works for him.
Yeah, I would say that I think of Cam Newton and Andrew Luck, Stephen A. When Andrew Luck was supposed to be the greatest. Trevor Lawrence is the most celebrated prospect since Andrew Luck at the position. But Cam and Luck came out, number one picks consecutive years, and they were the two best in college during their years. And Cam, it seemed like when he would answer questions, had to run it through a filter like, damn, the thing I really want to say, people aren't trying to hear. And so he would say things that just made you feel awkward when you were listening. Andrew Luck was the opposite. Andrew Luck, you asked him a question, he spat out the answer, and it was perfect. It was the perfect consumable for the football public, loving public football answer, right? Because he had drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago, and he could just. Trevor Lawrence is neither one of those things to me. I'm very encouraged listening to him talk in that interview, Stephen A., with you, because what he's saying is, look, if you ask me a question, I might have an answer that's not exactly what you're expecting to hear, but that's okay. That's the way I feel about it. I may have to clarify sometimes, but that's all right. And it doesn't feel like either he's running it through a filter to tell you something you want to hear or maybe editing it, and so you feel uncomfortable. And it's also not, here, let me just give you the perfect answer. Whether or not, because I really bought into all this stuff. He has his own way of seeing things. He looks very self-possessed and confident. And if I'm Jacksonville, I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, Urban Meyer's got to be pretty excited about the new situation. All right, guys, let's move on here. Time for our draft blitz as we preview the 2021 NFL Draft. Kicks off this Thursday, focusing on the Cardinals, who own the 16th overall pick in the draft. Arizona got off to a good start last season, but lost 5 of their last 7 games to finish 8-8. Kyler Murray enters his 3rd season as Cards quarterback and got some help this offseason on both sides of the ball. James Conner and A.J. Green on offense, J.J. Watt on defense. We now welcome in 2-time Super Bowl champ Damien Woody to the show. Damien, it's been way too long. There you are.
Really?
Good to see you behind the baby grand. And, you know, the artwork and the castle and all that.
So that's what we're doing.
Good morning. Look at the love seat, too.
That's
I
what
never
we're
really
doing.
got to see the love seat.
You paying attention to the love
And a
seat.
lot of sunlight.
We could barely see the love seat, number one. Number two, so we just no tie, no nothing. We just gonna throw on a shirt and that's just what we gonna do, right?
It's Casual Friday, Stephen A.
We gonna show up like that, not even a blazer, nothing. We just gonna do it like that, right? That's what we gonna do. That's what we gonna do, D.
You see the scenery behind me. Do I need to do anything else? Yeah, I got a blaze over there, but when I got the scenery behind me, that speaks for itself. So we're gonna get into this conversation or what?
Let me hear you say Rottweiler's by the door.
We say Rottweiler by the door?
Yeah,
you already know.
Look at you in the mansion looking like Biggie Smalls. Go ahead.
That's right.
You know it. I'm repping to the fullest.
Max. Yeah, just ignore them. Ignore the noise. Isn't that what Patriots do anyway? Max, are you confident about the Cardinals' chances in the NFC?
Yeah, I think they have real chances. I mean, the NFC West is a beast. Any of those teams could do it. And any of those teams could come in last. I mean, it's that competitive. But we're talking about a team that was 8-8, which I believe improved in the offseason. It's not just the additions, which were significant. I mean, J.J. Watt went on the field, can still play. And by the way, you notice how former Texan is like, oh, okay, man, DeAndre Hopkins and this young kid. And by the way, you think guys around the league aren't hearing about Kyler Murray and what it's like to play with him? I'm sure they are. Kyler Murray is the key, of course, though, as important as the quarterback position is. He is an X factor. He was at a very promising rookie campaign, made strides in his 2nd season, and the 3rd season is usually when these number 1 overall picks, if they're panning out, can become MVP caliber players. This is an 8-8 team with an improving quarterback who I expect to be better than 500 this year. How much better will determine whether they can actually take the West, but they're going to be highly competitive in the best division in football by far.
No, it's just real interesting. I mean, before I even get, first of all, I don't believe in Arizona yet. I love the fact that they picked up A.J. Green to join DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray being the quarterback. I'm not enamored with James Conner. Forgive me. I know he's got a beautiful story, and I wish him nothing but the best. But last time I checked, he was a Pittsburgh Steeler. In the last 3 years or so, Pittsburgh had one of the worst running attacks in football. It ain't just because of the offensive line. He has something to do with it as well. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but damn it, he ain't innocent, okay? So I look at it from that standpoint. It remains to be seen. I think Chase Edmonds, I think that's his name. I think that's the guy that you know, he'll be competing for that spot with. I just love the fact that, and I'm being facetious here, guys. I mean, when you think about Cliff Kingsbury coming out of Texas Tech, coaching there for 6 years, you know, only having a winning record twice, 35-40 record, and he gets an NFL head coaching job. And in 2 seasons, he's 13-18, I think, something like 13-18-1. And yet, Kyler Murray's his quarterback, and DeAndre Hopkins is his wide receiver, and now A.J. Green is joining DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray throwing the football. I just love the fact that the most popular thing about this dude as an NFL coach is the crib that he was living in and chilling at last year during the NFL draft. That's the best thing we can say about Cliff Kingsbury. The crib is fly. Hell, I want to buy it, okay? Where is it? I want to see it. Because that's how fly that crib was during the virtual NFL draft last year. That's the only thing we could say about him. Yet, his 2nd year on the job, or approaching his 3rd year, Max, he gets DeAndre Hopkins last year. He gets A.J. Green this year. T.J. Watt this year. I'm sorry, not J.J. Watt. I'm sorry, J.J. Watt. Right. It's special to be privileged. It's It's special to be privileged. I'm just going to leave it at that. Having said all of that, it's not that I think the Cardinals are bad. It's not that I don't see that they have talent. It's not that I don't think they can beat anybody. It's that I look at the division and I see 3 teams that are better, and there's only 4 teams in there. I think the Rams are better with Matthew Stafford. I think Seattle still has Russell Wilson. And I think the San Francisco 49ers, with Deebo Samuel's back, with George Kittle still there, with Jimmy Garoppolo expected to be there, okay, with Mostert in the backfield, with the defense, the Bosa's of the world and others coming back because he was hurt last year. I just look at San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan being the coach there. And I see 3 teams in the West, NFC West, better than the Arizona Cardinals. It's not that I don't think they're good and talented. I just see 3 teams that are better. That's where I'm at with it.
Well, listen, I think that when you look at the Arizona Cardinals this past offseason, they've made a bunch of moves on both sides of the ball. We pointed some of those moves out. And I don't think they're finished bolstering their offense. I think they could go for another wide receiver, even though, A.J. Green came over in free agency from Cincinnati to give Kyler Murray even more weapons on the offensive side of the football. I think this really comes down to coaching. We all know the NFC West is the best division in football. And Stephen A. and Max, y'all both touched on the teams. And, you got Pete Carroll up in Seattle. They're always going to be formidable. You got Matthew Stafford coming over from the Lions. I think that's a game changer for the Los Angeles Rams. It gives them another dynamic player at the quarterback position, something they didn't have with Jared Goff. And then you have the 49ers. Listen, the 49ers is going to be my Super Bowl representative out of the NFC this year. I think with all the injuries that the 49ers sustained last year, all those guys coming back, I think the 49ers are going to be fantastic this year. Kyle Shanahan is going to have those guys rolling. And again, and you alluded to it, Stephen A., when you only there's 4 teams in the division, and you have those stalwarts in that, as far as coaching in that division, are we willing to put up Cliff Kingsbury against Kyle Shanahan, Pete Carroll, and Sean McVay? I'm not ready to do that. They were 8-8, but I'm not ready to do that. And I think coaching matters more so in the NFL than any other division. Any other sport. And that's why I don't see the Arizona Cardinals making their way out of that division into the postseason this year.
Well, I'll be nice enough not to get on you about the San Francisco 49ers and how you just threw the black cat in there by picking them as a team to come out of the NFC, considering your record of picking teams to come out of the NFC.
I'm letting it be known now. I'm letting it be known right now.
Super Bowl. I don't know. It takes about a decade to recover from that.
That was 2 years ago. Why are you bringing up old stuff? Why are you bringing up old stuff? That was 2 years ago.
That matters. It takes about a decade to recover from that atrocious pick. Okay? But I will say this in all seriousness. Isn't it amazing? Max Kellerman, the last 3 years at Texas Tech, not Texas, not Alabama, not LSU or someplace, at Texas Tech, the last 3 years, Cliff Kingsbury coached there. He was 5-7, 6-7, and 5-7, and got a head coaching job in the NFL. It's amazing. It's really touching to see. How these folks, it's just amazing. Clearly there's a process that's being followed, a criteria to be an NFL head coach, right? Right, Damian? Clearly there's a process. Damn.
It's the 2 C's, Stephen A. Complexion and connection, as Muhammad Ali used to say.
How about that?
I'll say this, though. I think you guys are both sleeping on the potential. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk, but the potential of Kyler Murray. Because when you look at the quarterbacks, a lot of this is going to come down to quarterback play among equally talented teams. Not that they're exactly equally talented, but they're all very good. And Matthew Stafford has to show that he's a winner. We know he's always had elite talent. But now it's going to be really interesting. Okay, Stafford, you got every single thing you could want now. You're not in Detroit anymore. You got a defense, you got an offense, you got a coach. Let's see what you can do. Because Jared Goff took this team to the Super Bowl. Let's see what Stafford does. And that's because it's going to really shape how we view his career, how he does with the Rams, especially this year. Let's see. He has to go out and prove it. And the Niners, Garoppolo's got to stay healthy. I don't care if they draft whoever, whether it's Justin Fields or Mac Jones or Trey Lance. It's probably going to be Mac Jones from everything we're hearing. That's the rookie. He's probably not going to be the quarterback. The quarterback's going to be Garoppolo, who can't stay healthy. Otherwise, they got a rookie quarterback. You're going to go to the Super Bowl with that? They got to stay healthy. Otherwise, I probably agree with you. They're probably the class of the division still, Damian, but it's really tough. And Seattle still doesn't have a defense. And Russell Wilson just threw his offensive line under the bus. No, it's good. This division very well could be. We've seen Kyler Murray excel as a rookie, get better as a second-year player. Can he take the step that a lot of guys do in their third year and become a superstar? It is not out of the question that he could be the best quarterback in the division this year. Not out of the question. And if that happens, Cardinals probably the best team.
All right. 8 wins last season, can only go up from here. All right, fellas, let's move on to Chi-Town, Chicago. Struggling for some time now. All right, they were 8-8 last season, but did make the playoffs. The big question that a lot of Bears fans have is what will they do at quarterback? Trubisky out, Dalton is in, plus they still have former Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles. Max, what is the dream scenario for Chicago at the quarterback position?
I think the guy with the highest floor of the guys likely to be available is Justin Fields. And I think there's a good chance he could slip to like 9 or something like that. Like basically almost out of the top 10, but not quite. Chicago got to trade up and grab him. Trade up and grab him. I think Justin Fields is going to be a good NFL quarterback. At least he has all the tools. And the Bears cannot sell their fan base, not only just going into this year, Andy Dalton's the quarterback. Well, that could wash if you're grooming a young guy. They're going to put that off another year. The 85 Bears might have been the greatest football team of all time. They didn't have a great quarterback, but they had a good enough one in Jim McMahon, who came out last week and said the Packers were the best franchise he ever played for. He was a third-string quarterback when they won the Super Bowl with Brett Favre. You know what that does to Bears fans? A football-crazy Bears town, the Bears, right? It's been how many decades since they won a Super Bowl, and even then they didn't have a quarterback, and they haven't had a quarterback since then. You know, if Jay Cutler is top 3 in your franchise's history, at least in the Super Bowl era, you're not doing something right. They have to get quarterback right. If Justin Fields starts slipping, they better jump up and grab him.
The Chicago Bears have only had 2 playoff appearances in the last 10 years, since 2010. That was also the last time they won a playoff game, 2010. Should they move up? Yes. Should they move up to get Justin Fields? Absolutely. Or Trey Lance, by the way. If somebody is foolish enough to let him fall to a point where the Chicago Bears could possibly land him at 20 or move up in the draft to get him. But I will say this, and I think this is the only thing to say. It's hard to fathom why Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace is still there. It really, really is. Because considering how important draft picks are, when you move up in the draft to draft a product out of North Carolina named Mitchell Trubisky that nobody really had ranked that high, and you are on the record as being the team who moved up in the draft to have the number 2 overall pick, and you passed up on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. If you did it, guys, to get some elite offensive lineman or some elite linebacker or a pass rusher, something like that, Damian Woody, you feel what I'm saying? That's different. But when you moved up to take a quarterback and you picked the wrong dude so flagrantly to the point where not only did you pass up on Patrick Mahomes, not only did you pass up on Deshaun Watson, but you've already let go of Mitchell Trubisky. He's not even on your squad. I think it takes a generation to recover from that. And I just look at Nagy and Pace, and I'm not going to lie. I'm not even judging everything else. I'm looking at that decision alone, and I'm saying, why are you still employed by the Chicago Bears franchise? I mean, if draft picks mean what they tell us it means, Max, you pay attention to that because of the analytics. Damian Woody, you're a Super Bowl champion. I feel free to correct me. I cannot believe that you can make that egregious of an error and still get to make other decisions. I'm sorry. I just look at that, and I'm not bringing up anything else that they've done. I'm just saying that decision to move up, to surrender first-round picks, to position yourself for the number 2 overall pick, to pass up on Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, and then turn around and don't even have the guy that you picked on your squad any longer. He in Buffalo now as a backup. Why are they making decisions? Why?
Man, I can't explain why. Listen, it's real simple for me for the Bears. You cannot roll into this season with Andy Dalton as your quarterback. I'm sorry. You cannot, if you're the Chicago Bears, roll into this thing as Andy Dalton as QB1. Okay? This fan base has been clamoring for hope, something. They need to spice it up. And if you're the Chicago Bears, if you're Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, you're beyond the hot seat. Okay? We can't even say that this is the hot seat for them. They have to make a move to stir this thing up, to give Bears fans hope, to potentially challenge. Because guess what? Aaron Rodgers is still in Green Bay. Do we believe that Andy Dalton can challenge Aaron Rodgers in the Green Bay Packers this year? Hell no. Now, you go out there, if you're the Chicago Bears, you make a bold move to go up and get a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance. Okay. Now, that's telling your fan base, look, we're all in. We're all in to try to find that quarterback. Because if there's one thing you got to do, you have to find a quarterback. You got to keep trying, keep drafting one. You have to keep doing that. You cannot roll with Andy Dalton. I'm sorry.
Can't get gun shy because it didn't work out with Trubisky. Got to keep taking those shots.
Hey, guys, I know we're living in a virtual world. I'm not sure it happened, but I think I recall there was some kind of virtual press conference when Andy Dalton was signed and stuff like that, and they made a big deal. It wasn't even worth the press.